Day, morning or afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. Politically incorrect old white guy here again. And I'm feeling brave today, so we're going to talk about the R word. R as in racist. You hear that word a lot, and it's usually used in some form of political context where one side is trying to paint the other side in a bad light, and they just call them racist. And it's that usually shuts up the accused because it's a rather tricky area. So I'm going to give you my views on this subject, and I may say some things that offend some people. So be it. Sticks and stones, the old saying. Um, like dogs, humans come in different flavors. Okay, all dogs have four legs. In fact, there's an old joke: what has four legs and barks? And the person looks at you in a with a stupid look on his face and says, "A dog, or dogs," and you say, "You've heard this one before." Uh, some people don't find that amusing, but I do. They all have four legs. They all bark. Most of them bite. Uh, but there are some very different flavors of dogs, or breeds as we call them, and they all have specific characteristics, strengths, weaknesses, and in most cases they were all bred for a reason. I happen to be a fan of Jack Russell Terriers. I have a Jack Russell, and these little dogs were bred to kill rodents, and they're digging dogs, so they dig into rodent nests and holes and kill rodents. That's very different than, for example, a Great Dane, which is built for speed, and I believe they were these days they're used for betting, but back in the day they were used to chase down quarry such as deer um, or rabbits. So yeah, humans, as I said, come in all flavors. However, this came about. The evolutionists would have you believe that we all started out in Africa and then we dispersed across the globe. And for some reason, we didn't find our way back once we went wherever we went, and we kind of settled there and developed and evolved over hundreds of thousands of years into different races, as we call them today. And actually, it's more differentiated than that. There are different uh, cultures within a race. There are different languages within a race. We came up with this idea of countries. So countries, further fenced us off from our fellow human beings. And what we ended up with was a smorgasbord of little pockets of human beings who are all human beings. They can interbreed. They all walk on their hind legs. They all have a language of some sort, and but they're not identical in many ways. So why is that relevant? Well, in recent times in our evolution, we've kind of mixed up the bag here, and we've got people that formerly never mixed are now living side by side, and we've got people moving around the surface of the earth, crossing oceans and so on. So the fences that divided us are no longer there, or not to the same extent. uh, Historical perspective, these different races over time, going back to time immemorial, different cultures, different nationalities, different tribes in areas where tribal cultures were the norm, where different tribes developed, even within a race, they've been beating on each other for time immemorial, stealing each other's possessions, women, uh, killing each other over various disputes. And one would argue it's sort of part of the human psyche to attack and wage war against people who are not the same as you. So this recent development of all these different strains of human being mixing together is fraught with tension and violence and unhappiness, because those tendencies are ingrained in us at a genetic level, and now we're living side by side, constrained by legal constructs that every now and then get thrown out of the window. And we have, for example, the Irish Catholics and the Irish Protestants going at each other. We have the Houthis and the Tutsis in Central Africa slaughtering each other. We have the Israelis, Jews having a go at and being attacked by their neighbors. We have the Russians attacking the Ukrainians, and I don't think there's a whole lot of racial differences between the people on the Russian side versus the people on the Ukrainian side. And this is just a reality. It's not going to go away. And no matter how much people say, diversity is our strength, and we need to have a rainbow society, and that's the correct model, and that will lead to happiness for everybody. I don't know that I agree with that. That doesn't seem to be borne out by the facts and the evidence. So I guess my takeaway is that we are all fundamentally racist. At some deep psychological level, we're racist, and that what that means is we don't want to mix with, live next to, or intermarry with people of different racial, ethnic, cultural, language backgrounds. It doesn't happen much. If it wasn't a big deal, there would be no races. We'd all be a melange. And in fact, while there are some overlaps, most of the racial groups, ethnic groups, cultural groups, tribal groups, whatever you want to call them, have maintained their identity largely intact and strive to continue to do so. So calling people racist is just stupid. That's like calling a dog, and expecting the person to feel guilty about it. That doesn't mean that we should be acting out, but unfortunately, the human race can't seem to get that right. And every now and then, the old, centuries old, millennia old tendencies come to the fore, and we have a go at each other. What does that mean in practice? Well, it means we should stop trying to blend everybody in a big old metaphorical blender. Having people of very different value systems try to get along, living side by side. That model clearly doesn't work. And if you do end up in a situation like that, I suppose the other solution is to have everybody intermarry to the point where everybody is equally mixed, and we're all one race, as the idealists would like us to be, would like to think we are. So there you go. Call me racist. I don't care. That's like calling me a human being, as far in my mind. And all these people that constantly throw that word around are themselves, in my opinion, racist. And they're just projecting their own racist feelings on other people. There are, of course, degrees of this emotion, but at some deep subconscious level, it's in there, in all of us. So that's my take on the R word. I don't know that that solves anything, but I suppose if we understand ourselves a little better, perhaps that will diffuse some of the tensions and stop this name calling and card playing that goes on all the time. It's very annoying. It doesn't accomplish anything. Just aggravates the situation. Thank you for listening to my off the wall opinions, and you have a harmonious day.